Please buckle your seatbelts because the scale of flight is taking off now.
From smartphone snaps to studio-like, absolutely stunning images, visuals, and immersive video experiences. Over the next 45 minutes, we are going to be talking to Sanjay Varnwal, founder of Spyne AI, about how Spyne as a platform is really disrupting and transforming automotive retail. I have the privilege of being joined by Sanjay. Sanjay, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Peeyush. Thanks for inviting me.
It's an absolute pleasure, to have you here. And I've been checking out, almost everything about what Spyne has been doing over the last, year to 2 years. And it is wonderful. I mean, I looked at certain car dealerships that you guys work with, at least that's what the website says. And I looked at the inventory, the video spins and the visuals and the video tours. And I must say that, it made for a pretty compelling experience. So that's what you guys are all about, right? Stunning images, stunning and immersive video experiences?
Absolutely. That's how we started. The goal was to help the dealers, automotive dealers all across the globe with producing extremely premium looking visuals without having to spend a lot of money in setting up those like heavy duty physical studios. So the cars generally, if you see, are very high value items, right? And a lot of transactions these days happen online where the consumers tend to have a deeper look at the car before they decide on having go to the dealer for the test drive, right? And this is where a big dealer like maybe Carvana or CarMax in the country, in the US, is differentiating from a small dealer. They have all the money, all the real estate to set up those very, very expensive studios on which they can shoot the car and present them in a very beautiful fashion. But most of the small dealers cannot do it. So we launched a technology in which we said to the dealer, hey, you have the space at least where the car is parked. You use our application to shoot that car in a raw format, and we'll give you the experience that Carvanas or CarMax are building without having to spend any money on the studios. So this is how we started about 2-3 years back, and we got about like maybe 15 to 2,000 odd rooftops working with us over the last 2.5 years.
That's wonderful. So I think you've given us a very, very good high-level macro view of what you guys do using Spyne. Why don't you walk us through the before and after for a car dealer who's just listed one of their vehicles, right?
Yeah.
What does the before and after look like with Spyne?
If you see, right, so if you go to a very popular marketplace in the US, let's say Auto Trader or Car Gurus or some of these companies, let's say you as a consumer are looking to buy a car, BMW car, let's say BMW X3 or X5 or something, right? So you applied a filter and started checking out all the cars on Auto Trader's website, and there you find like maybe 20 similar cars, all with similar specs, but one car standing out because it is very good looking in nature. It is very good looking because of the way it is presented, all the features, highlights coming out like really well. And those are the dealers that win that deal, at least in terms of lead volume that they get from those platforms, versus the other dealers that do not spend any money, right? Or they do not have that kind of a openness, or maybe the view that online traffic are so important for them, right? And the visuals are what drives the first impression for the customers, right? So the majority of dealers do not actually, were not spending that much of energy, though they were paying a lot of money to Auto Trader, but those money were paid to list those cars, but they were not utilizing how to get more traffic, more leads on those cars that they were already listing, right? So it was just a few dollars additional spend, and they were able to get like more leads. So instead of presenting a car which was like maybe few images, 4 or 5 images, which are just depicting the car in a very basic fashion, we help the dealers with setting up maybe 20 to 30 odd exterior shots of the car, about those many interior shots of the car, right? So that the consumers, when they look at the car, they tend to experience that car way better compared to the other dealers, right?
Absolutely.
And we have seen the clicks, leads, everything getting an uplift because of the better presentation of the car.
So it's very interesting. I mean, you've spoken about, correct me if I'm wrong, a few elements here, right? About what the platform can do. So one is the capture part. How do you capture images that are sharper, that have less noise, less of a background, and all of that good stuff. So first is the capture part. The other is the cleanup part, right? How do you remove everything that shouldn't be there in the image and make it a high quality studio-like image? And the third is conversion part, where you're talking about lead conversions and making sure that it translates into revenue for the dealer. Let's focus on the first part, which is the capture part.
Yeah.
Because it's of a lot of interest. So what you're saying is that you can basically use your smartphone to click a picture, which is on your floor, and then using the Spyne platform, you can do all the image post-processing and everything and add a lot of these video spins and immersive experiences. Is that what it is?
Yeah. So I mean, our pitch to the dealer is that you don't need professional photographers to do the photo shoot. See, if you look at a typical dealer's business in the US, they're generally selling about 200 to 300 cars a month, right? So maybe 200, 300 cars is a larger dealer, but most of the dealers in the US would be selling about 100 odd cars in a month.
Every dealership location you're talking
Every
about?
Every location,
Sure.
right? So 100 cars maybe on an average. So if you just divide it by the number of days, then roughly 3 to 4 cars getting sold every day, right? For a typical dealer.
Right.
So why do you need a professional photographer? And getting a professional photographer to come to your location and do these 3 to 4 cars shoot is very expensive for the dealers. If you just say like calling someone just for the entire day for the shooting process of it. So our app basically turns anyone at their dealership space a professional photographer because it has all the shooting processes inbuilt in it. So we have created like computer vision models which are deployed on the edge, which is on the smartphone application itself, that guides the user on how to do the shoot. It detects on cropped shoot, non-uniform angles, the kind of frames that you need to shoot, the exposure, all of these like inbuilt in the application's shooting profile itself.
So using the Spyne platform, your dealers can do it better quality
right.
images and more
anyone
immersive.
can do it.
Faster and cheaper as well.
Yes.
So then are we saying that AI in this case is not just amplifying what typically photographers and videographers would do, but in this context is also replacing them in certain ways?
Yeah, I mean, that is not the pitch, but yes, I mean, you can actually bring a lot of efficiencies in the way the merchandising is happening at the dealer.
So in terms of cost, can you help us get a sense of how the cost compares before and after for a dealer?
And more than the cost play, we play on the revenue side because you look at the way the dealers are shooting their cars, the locations are not that clean enough for the dealers, right? So imagine a $30,000 or $40,000 BMW shot at a place which is not that clean looking.
Sure.
So that is also something which dealers are cannot control, right? They don't have the space to shoot at. So one is avoiding that particular, I mean, that constraint itself, where you can have anyone shooting that car in a perfect way, right? And then we provide 3D digital studios to the dealer that dealers can opt for, and that 3D studios can be as good as, I mean, dealer can opt for a space, they can provide a video to us, and we'll be able to convert that space into a 3D for that digital 3D.
So that's very interesting. And I just want to interject and ask you this, that in everything that you've just defined, right? And obviously there's a lot of AI that you guys leverage. What is proprietary vis-a-vis, off the shelf that you readily use? And like, what is your success mantra, and what is it that differentiates your models vis-a-vis someone else's?
Right. So we started like pre-ChatGPT era, about like 2 years back, 2 years way before ChatGPT became very prevalent across the globe. And we built all these models with GANs as a core framework, like generative adversarial network as a core fundamental foundation on which we built everything. Of course, so it was all built with the open source libraries, frameworks, papers that were all over the place. And we tried to mold it for the automotive. And I mean, internally we have trained about like maybe hundreds of models, which can detect every single part of the car. It understands how to stabilize a car. It understands how to generate an interior view of a car. It understands how to position a car.
So this is all your proprietary stuff?
This is all like trained on our like tens of millions of data.
And what do you think the model is best at? Like reducing blur, any kind of interference, or even night shots, right? I'm sure you take a lot of night shots. So Where does it succeed? Where does it fail?
The models basically were built in two different problem statements areas. So one is classification, right? So do we understand that car? What type of car we are shooting, and what all are the special features or any kind of blemishes that the cars have? Right. So this is like one type of model that we have created, which where we can detect all the special features of the car. That those kind of models are not there in the industry,
Sure.
right? So because no one has gone that deep and created like let's say what would be a special feature on X3 versus maybe a Toyota's Corolla car, right? So there's one type of model that we created, and the second type of model is all these transformation models, where we apply those stabilization, we apply those window transformation, we apply those exposure correction, no matter when you're shooting. So the key problem is if you're shooting it in a broad daylight, you get like a different type of exposure on the car compared to when you try to place it in a studio, which have a different lighting profile. It is also shot in a way which is very unstable.
So let me ask you this. This means using Spyne, we didn't have to book this studio.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, we could do it somewhere outside on the streets, and then using the platform, we'd be able to do all that post-processing and still be able to make it look as nice as this?
Yeah. So that was the pitch, that you don't need this studio. We could have set outside, and we have transformed ourselves into the studio.
So maybe that is something Usher is not going to like. But
Right. So we do it on the cars, of
Right.
course, where so the car setups are very, very expensive, right? So this is where our product basically provides that particular value.
That's wonderful. So, without getting into further details, because there's so much to cover and unpack here. So you've spoken about the capture part,
Yeah.
and you've spoken about the cleanup part. And then you did allude to the conversions part and the focus on driving revenue for your dealers, right? Doing it faster, making sure that the visuals are up faster, right? And then you are able to capture the leads effectively as well. Now, 2020, when you started off, when you and Deepthi started the firm, you may want to correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding it was more a computer vision merchandising platform, which is more generic.
Yeah.
And that's at some point in your journey, probably around 2023 is when you decided
To go
no,
deep on auto.
to deep on auto. What triggered that decision? I mean, what is it about auto industry that you saw that you like nothing doing? We're not going to look at other industries.
The key, so the vision with which we started was to help long tail sellers or the dealers with the way to present their products the way bigger brands were presenting, right? So that was the high level vision, that can you help the small dealers compete on equal footing with the bigger brands.
And this is
in
new
their
and
space.
pre-owned car dealers, everybody.
Dealers
Yeah.
could be a food, the small restaurant,
Right.
or maybe a hotel, or maybe a clothing store, or anyone. Right?
Any
that's
e-commerce.
Any
Yeah.
e-commerce.
Right.
That's how we started. But we realized 1 year into the business that the kind of depth or the kind of the finish or the outcome that we needed to justify the outcome at the level of the high-end brand that we're doing was like so complex. So to create a high quality real estate outcome versus a model shoot versus a food versus a car, all these are different types of problem statements, right? So models, if you are doing like a fashion shoot, you need to be very particular about the way model smiles, the hair is done, like the poses and different things, versus a real estate shoot, which is how do you capture a bedroom versus a washroom versus a reception versus
Very
different places, right? So
Very true.
all these were different sorts of problem statements. So when we started like hitting different types of accounts, onboarding different types of accounts, we started getting into like a deeper and deeper problem statements that real estate companies were telling us, hey, why don't you improve this. Fashion companies were saying, hey, you need to improve this and this. Auto is saying something else, and food were saying something else. So
you were spread too
we
thin
were spread like too
between
thin.
different domains.
So we wanted to build a technology that would stand like the best in the globe, right? So, and we were like kind of average at everything. So we decided to go deeper into one given sector, and auto is one.
And this was a very founder-led, and the founding team believed in making this pivot, or was it more investor-led? Because correct me if I'm wrong, by that time you'd already done your pre-series A of 7 million.
No, not the investor led, but we were kind of flattened for the entire year. in terms of revenue when we were focusing on everything, because it is not only about the product building, it is also about the GTM, marketing, the customer success part, how do you make the customers happy and do more business with you. So we were doing like an average job at everything because there was no focus, right? So we decided to get into like a one sector just to focus on the kind of problem, because everyone starts like thinking in that direction, like from the product to tech to customer success to marketing to sales, everything.
So before you decided to build this, deep specialty in a certain vertical, in this case, in your case, auto, and do this hard pivot, what percentage of your revenue was coming from auto vis-a-vis some of the other verticals?
So auto was only 20%.
So you let go of 80% revenue. You said that
In about
this is not.
6 months we let all these.
And how many non-auto customers did you have at that point in time?
So we had close to 50 plus with us.
So it's intriguing you say that because, I speak to a lot of founders, and one consistent theme that has evolved through all these conversations is that for them to build specialty and deep expertise in a certain area, they had to say no and walk away from a pretty chunky piece of the business. So I think that is something
that was like one of the toughest phases of our journey, because we had to take this very hard call of letting go of 80% of our business, the teams associated with that as well. And it took us it took some revenue dip, but another like 3 to 6 months we recovered and grew very fast from there.
Right.
Because of the auto. So
at this point, what you're telling me is that when you decided to build this deep expertise in auto, then obviously you see a huge and a steep, increase in revenue. What are the key metrics you look at on a weekly basis to really, validate that your product market fit is real?
So one is, of course, the engagement on the cars images that we publish online, the engagement of those cars images versus the raw that we do not control on, right? So how is that engagement, like the click rates on those cars compared to the existing ones, how that trend. Second is, of course, we go very deep into the quality measurement. So the AI processed images, what percentage of the errors are basically coming because of AI first processing. So we also have some kind of QC element to it, which is maybe less than 5% of the cars. We keep on doing QC just to create our own annotated data. So that particular percentage we want to reduce to sub 1%, because engagement, quality of images that we process, number of images that we process every day. Some of these are the key metrics that we keep on tracking.
And what's that one dealer story that you talk about all the time, that you have on your pitch decks and that you bring up every now and then in your customer meetings? Talk to me about one success story where you've really been able to show strong value before and after Spyne.
Many dealers, many of these dealers who, there are a few mid-sized dealers in the US, Bergstrom Automotive, Greenway. Some of these are like pretty decent big names in the ecosystem. So, and very hard to get customers, right? So when we pitch to these customers were like, so the way we pitch it is, there's a studio outcome and there's us, right? So, and we show, and there's the previous version of the image that they have, right? So the current raw image, we show them that, hey, this is your raw image. This is maybe some of the competitors exist. This is the image that is processed by those competitors, and this is us. Which one, as your customer, would like to click, right? So this is a straight pitch, very easy pitch that we give to the customers, right? So, and in most of the cases, the answer is our images. We don't tell them which one is ours. We basically show them like 3 to 4 different formats of the same image, right? And this is a straight question that we ask. So this kind of question, it is all very, very, very organic, right? So because you are behaving like a end consumer, that you are attracted toward that image which is looking the best.
Yeah.
So when we get this answer, so sales journey basically closes there, and then we get that customer to onboarding, that gets to live, all the cards get processed, right? So the journey, again, this translates into more clicks, more bookings for that particular dealer. So we have seen a lot of dealers basically ramping up on. So the way the dealer ecosystem in the US works is there are a lot of group dealers in the US, right? So group dealers which control maybe 32, maybe 200 odd stores across the US.
The likes of Lithia and
Lithia,
AutoNation and
AutoNation,
Sonics and
yeah, Asbury Automotive.
Right.
There are a lot of these companies that exist, right? So when we start with one of the dealers, any of these dealers, they typically open up with like 2 to 3 rooftops with us, right? And then over the course of let's say 3 to 6 months, we see that rooftop expanding very, very rapidly with us, right? So it takes about a month or 2 months in to gain that confidence, and then once they get confident, they quickly move all their stores from different types of providers or different type of processes to us. And we have seen this happening very often.
makes total sense. And have you ever gotten to a point where you almost thought that there's something, a new trend, new technology, something changed that was killing the product market fit, and how did you go about fixing it? Any feedback from your clients?
Yes. So see, I mean, if you see dealers' business, so dealers' business are typically very, very operations and sales heavy, right? So, and they are not tech businesses. Tech is just an enabler for them, right? So, even if those models which are launched by OpenAI or Anthropic or all these companies, these models are basically launched, but dealers cannot use them like out of the shelf, right? So they just cannot use OpenAI to process their images and do all those variety of tasks to get those images live on their website, social media, marketplaces, everywhere, right? So there would be companies which will be owning up this entire process end to end in the value chain, right? Where how you shoot it, how you transform it, how you ensure that all the images are getting live on their marketplaces or the platforms, right? And then provide the engagement around it. So there are a lot of intricacies that you need to build around it. So we keep on exploring different types of technologies, advancement that is happening in the industry. Like we started as GANs, but now maybe 20-30% of the models remained as GANs now. We have used a lot of different types of models that have been launched in the industry in the last 1.5 to 2 years to enhance on the experiences that we have built. Like 3D is one of the new innovation that we are launching.
Sure.
There's this video because of the Sora 2 model that has gone live. We are launching another version of those reels or the 3D, the kind of social media pro videos, which will. So all the product that we are launching have the constant theme of utilizing the best quality product that is available and tuning those for the automotive and stitching this entire workflow.
Right.
To make the experience very immersive and frictionless for the dealer.
And in my study, what I found very intriguing, Sanjay, was that there are 4 different stages, right, of where you add value. So the capture part, where we've spoken about, the enhancement part, where all of this processing happens, the experience part, where you've added a lot of video tours and spins and
3D,
so many 3D stuff, and then you're now positioning it as a full-blown, a much broader digital, retail platform, right? So that is very interesting, and that's where the lead conversion and lead capturing part comes into play. All right. So talk to me about what triggered this development of a much broader platform, and you moving into things like how you're leveraging conversational AI. After hours, suppose when somebody goes to a dealer website, there's nobody to talk to. Your AI bot or AI avatar would actually talk to the person, schedule a sales or a service visit. How did you get there? Talk to me a little bit about the process before, obviously we talk about fundraising and all of that interesting aspects of your journey.
So when we concentrated our, business focus on automotive, the idea was to always expand into this vertical software ecosystem for the auto dealers, right? So it was not only for the merchandising, because merchandising would have taken you only that far away, right? So the idea was to build this overall suite of the softwares eventually in our lifetime that can serve the dealers in a more holistic manner, at least the retail part of their business, right? So we basically got very confident on merchandising, and merchandising is one of the bases on which the business is getting built, right? And we are kind of expanding it. So the way the products are built in a SaaS industry, right? So you keep exploring the connected part of the use cases on the core on which you have already built, right? So merchandising is one that we have already built, which is going live on the dealers' websites, on the marketplaces, or on social media. Now the next logical step was your your media or your merchandising is driving more engagement. Can you help the dealers with capturing those engagements into concrete leads as well?
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was the next logical step for us, and there we saw a big opportunity that is coming in the new age. The way the AI is shaping up is this entire 24/7 available agents in terms of chat, voice, emails. Like, so can you create like a 24/7 available dealer using your product?
Yeah.
Right. So that's what we build like naturally as a next step. That on the website we've started providing all these engagement modules that can let the customer talk to the dealer even if the dealer's shop is closed. Right. So and that we are extending to further different branches, which is now that we have this bots in place, can't we roll it out on service, finance, and various other parts of the businesses of the dealers as well? So this is the next inline product that we are going deep into.
So clearly, I mean, the product has come a long way from where you started. And I think what's really catapulted this journey and accelerated this journey is obviously the fundraising. That's also helped you tremendously in your expansion efforts. Talk to me about how difficult it was or how challenging it was to raise your Series A. You did that in Feb of this year, Feb 2025. And what are those milestones that you were able to unlock that actually led to your 16 million of Series A from your pre-Series A that happened 3 years ago?
Yeah, so pre-Series A happened on this particular thesis of that photography will happen with much like a distributed manner, right?
Sure.
So where the end users will be able to do high-end photography. That is the thesis on the pre-Series A happened, right? In multi-sector, right? So and so over the next 2-3 years of raising the pre-Series A, we were able to establish this use case fully in one industry, which was automotive, right? And we grew our revenue very rapidly. And of course, there is a large market in the US and Europe. 70,000-80,000 dealers here, 70,000-80,000 dealers in Europe. And overall, if you see globally, there would be like a 300 to 400,000 dealers.
And what's your revenue spread between India, where you started off, vis-a-vis the US?
When we raised the fund Series A, the revenue was like maybe 55 to 60% in US, about 25% in Europe, and 5% was in India, and remaining 5% across the different parts of the world. So US was still the biggest one. But yeah, the core thesis of the last fundraise, which was Series A, was that, okay, we only have 1,000 odd dealers with us. Mm-hmm. There's 70,000 odd dealers in the US and about 70,000 dealers in Europe. So there's clearly a path to get to maybe 10,000 dealers on merchandising alone.
Right.
Right. And if you do that, we clearly are looking at building maybe a $40 to $50 million business easily in that product alone.
Sure.
Right. So, and if we expand to multiple product lines, it gives us like a way wider path.
And did you consciously time it in such a way? Because I know that the India VC markets, they rebounded in 2024. Though I think the H1 was, again, it kind of went down a little bit, but India was the third largest market still globally. So was that a conscious move to kind of time it in such a way, or?
Yeah, so I mean, revenue scale, it was all coincidental because the revenue scale up was also happening. We kind of felt that we have reached to a stage now where we can now take the next leap of growth. And that's when we timed, and we saw like good interest from the market for our Series A. And we were, able to get some interest for the series, out of which we closed that with Vertex and internal, the existing investors overall contributing their part.
So overall, what's your piece of advice to early stage founders who are looking to raise in a rather challenging market where there's obviously greater diligence, greater scrutiny that the VCs are doing? Any piece of advice, anything that worked for you for Spyne to raise your Series A round?
I mean, the current market is like very, very easy. Not easy, like nothing is easy. But in the current market, if you are able to find a good use case and the TAM is good, you have a good team, then raising a couple of $1 million is not that a difficult part in the US, right? Mm-hmm. Especially, right? So, but yeah, it becomes challenging as you scale. And product market fit is really a challenge, no matter what you're building, right? So your Series A will not happen unless you have clearly shown the path to the product market fit, right? So I mean, I strongly think that more money basically spoils you.
Okay.
So your product market fit journey basically goes for a toss if you have more money to spend because you lose focus there.
Right.
You try to get into like 200 things and get to like not focus on one particular thing that can give you that product market fit.
So in summary, what you're saying is get your product market fit
Yeah,
right.
absolutely. I mean, just go deeply focus on one area that you can do best compared to anyone else. Like do the hard thing, like solve the hard problem, and then when the product market fit is there, everything becomes easy.
Right.
Like so, you get revenues. Revenue lead to the more investors coming and supporting you, and then that leads to the growth path.
No, so the one thing that we want to delve deeper into, and this is something that you just mentioned, is the scaling, the international expansion. Tell me, how did your sales playbook change as you crossed the ocean, and how different it was selling remotely from India to local dealers to actually setting up a local team in the US?
No, I think the selling profile till last year was mostly to the mid-sized to small dealers from India.
And what would you categorize as mid-size in terms of revenue, in terms of number of dealerships?
No, so we were not able to get like more success with the larger dealer groups from India, though that has changed in the last 6 months. And in the last 6 months, we because the brand is also being built, that we are a good company in the merchandising space. So there is more visibility across the dealers network now. So we are able to close some of the bigger dealership groups from India as well, Indian team as well. We have set up like a decent enough sized operations in GTM from India, about like 50-60 odd people there, with a combination of HTRs, which are setting up for demos and the people who closes them. So, but and we wanted to do like a more large ticketed deals in the US, which is where most of the competitors are playing, right? So, and that was the reason why we thought to set up a local team here, which has more more touch points with the dealers, have more exposure with the dealers ecosystem, right? So that know the right kind of people to get us in front of them, right? So that was like one of the key goals.
So was there a conscious realization that sitting remotely in India and with the founders, you and Deepthi being based in India, you would really not be able to get a foot in the door when it comes to the larger, the large enterprise segment, the likes of Lithia and Auto Nations and the Sonics that we've spoken about, and that's primarily what triggered, the move up the value chain from SMB to mid market to more of these enterprise dealerships.
We will continue like we are looking to set up like two kinds of teams. One that will go after the larger enterprises and partnerships from here in the US, and the other that will just scan the lower end of the dealerships market from India.
Sure.
Right. So these two are the teams that will balance each other, and we'll go after these two segments.
And are you investing more heavily in your direct field, sales? Is it more channel partner led?
No. So we have thankfully, I think partner led sales convert more if your product really works on the ground, and if your not even works, it has to be like a way superior compared to the others. We have seen the partner led motion also working well, but you always direct customers is always good customer, right? So because you control the entire value chain for them. Though partners keep coming to us for those closers, but we tend to avoid that kind of a sales model still. And we want to, because we have built our own direct sales channels.
Sure.
In a way where we want to capture that, X number of dealer, X percentage of the dealer ecosystem, we want to go direct first. Once we consume that.
So at this point in time, the company started in 2020. You made a hard pivot somewhere in 2023. 2025, you 5x'd, your revenue is 5x in the last 15 months. You correct me again if I'm wrong, but you're working with about 3,200 dealerships.
Yeah, globally, yes.
Globally. How do you think who you're recruiting, right? And the kind of and the quality of talent that you're bringing in now has changed, say, where it was 3 years ago?
We are going deeper and deeper into automotive space now, right? So, and we're looking to hire few, but really good in terms of culturally, they should be a great cultural fit, but also tend to bring in some kind of existing value from the ecosystem, right? So maybe if you talk about different types of profiles, so let's say sales or customer success, we definitely want someone who comes from the automotive as a background, so that there's a less of a learning period right?
So what would you say? Are you looking more of generalists who have a broad-based exposure to the auto domain? Or are you looking at specialists in certain specific areas who go deep in their specialized field of work?
Like product and technology or marketing maybe yes, but product and technology definitely we are looking at specialists who understand those consumer experiences very well. But marketing, sales, customer success, not even customer success, marketing and sales for sure we are looking at someone who knows auto industry in generally in depth.
Sure.
Right, so that generally like the language of with which dealer speaks, right? So those all things you just need to get it in marketing, because there's so many things which is happening. This industry has been there for last 30, 40, 50 years. So thousands, tens of hundreds of thousands of people working in this particular industry all across the country, right? So and they've been like moving across these sector itself across the jobs for a long time. And people, once they get into automotive, they do not want to move out of it because there is so much of opportunity inside it. So yeah, we are trying to get like those kind of people who get into like good cultural fit with us, which is a fast growing, delivering results, high on ownership, like startup trait.
And one feedback that I've consistently got from a lot of founders is that they look at what they describe as a T-shaped profile. So somebody who has a broad-based understanding of that particular domain, understands the product, but then goes very deep in a certain specific area of work. So you can't just know one particular thing. You still have to have a broader understanding, but you better be a master of what you've been recruited for. Is that something you believe in? Is that something? Is that a view that you share as well?
Yeah, strong view in different things is absolutely very beneficial because I mean, if you only know sales but are not connected to how the product works, how the customer success part of it works, how the marketing of it works, then you basically tend to fall sales as well, right? So someone who has this natural inquisitiveness to all forms of like all touch points connected to their job is definitely a good type of candidate. And whenever you see like a good candidate, you will know that okay, this person basically has strong opinions about product, about marketing, about customer success, even if they are getting hired on sales. Those kind of people we also tend to.
And I would love to get your take on this other topic, which is, it's a moot point between different founders that when you expand into newer markets, how do you start hiring? So do you first bring in your head of sales and then lean on them to really build a team of A's and SDRs or what have you? Or start from the bottom, hire a couple of SDRs, a couple of A's, and then grow from there. What has your approach been, and what is your view on this?
Yeah, so we did try like both of these approaches over the last 2-3 years. So
and what has worked and what did not?
So 2023 we had we tried to do like bottoms up,
Sure.
where we had 2-3 A's in the company in the US and try to build a team here locally, which didn't work out for us because there was no one to manage them, because we were back in India. We did not understand how to work with a remote team based in the US, right? So culturally we were not able to assimilate with what their motivations or demotivations were.
Sure.
And what we wanted, right? So that led to prematurely shutting down that particular team in 2023, late 2023. And we didn't do any such activity for the next 1 year. Like we decided to not do any hiring in the US till the time we raised our Series A.
Right.
And then we decided to take another approach, which was get someone to head our team in the US and then build a team under this particular person. And that have started like working well for us. Last 5-6 months, we got a head of sales hired in the country, who is like a veteran from automotive industry, well connected and very well respected as well. And we are now building a team around him.
And what questions do you ask your leadership? Like, let's take the example of the head of sales. When you were recruiting them, when you were interviewing them, what are some of the questions that you asked, right, in order to qualify whether it's a good fit, right, culturally, and where you are in your journey, whether they are the person who can actually take you to the next level?
So I think we were very clear on the kind of person we wanted to hire. One was that this person has to be flexible, right? So we see like a lot of people who have worked maybe 10, 20, 30 years in the industry tend to be very rigid in their thought process. That
Somebody
this-
who already comes with their own playbook and very fixated
exactly.
and
This has to work in this manner only.
right.
Right. So there's no other way in which this thing can work. And startups are all about breaking the current mold. Right. So okay, there are other possibilities as well that can exist. In the otherwise you are cogs. You don't compete, like you don't have a right to compete with the bigger companies if you're not different. Right. So you definitely need that kind of a person as a critical, like a leadership profile that comes with that flexible mindset that we are in the process of breaking something to make something new that can work in the industry, right? So this is like a evaluation one that we did, whether this person is flexible in terms of not only in terms of like a hardcore technical skills, but also in terms of like the people alignment, right? So because the second part was of course the cultural flexibility, that whether this person can work well with the team back in India. So and there we also added another angle to it, that anyone that we hire in the US has to work with India team, like locally.
Just to have
They
that
have to
cohesiveness.
travel to India, work maybe a month in the India location itself, just to understand the product, the people well, and then come back to the US and then build it.
And how easy or difficult has this process been to assimilate people and to make sure that everybody's pulling in the same direction, and you build this tight, cohesive culture, which is a common Spyne culture? What are some of the challenges you've run into?
I mean, of course, so leadership hiring is always a double-edged sword. So you can go wrong, and that going wrong can cost you like a lot, right? So we have been wrong at times in leadership hiring as well. But now in any new hiring that we do, we try to anti-sell the position a lot.
So highlight the
Bad
not so
part of
good
the
part,
job,
the ugly
bad
part.
of the
Yeah.
job, right? So, and that particular highlighting filters a lot of candidate.
Right.
Filters out a lot of candidate, right? Which is a good thing for us.
Sure.
That you don't need like thousands of people from the globe. You need maybe one or two people, person, right? Who can be the good fit for the job. So we try to anti-sell. We try to show the good part, but we try to show more the bad part of the job, like so and try to get the motivation why they want to join the company. Once we get like double tick there, then
Right.
only we try to move it. And there's like a host of interactions that a number of people in the company does.
So at this point in time, now that you're looking to scale obviously into the enterprise segment and really drive the adoption of the platform and grow your footprint, what is that single challenge or that problem that keeps you awake at night and something that is top of mind for you? Is it more people related? Is it more product related? What is it?
It is
that you're
mostly
thinking
people,
about?
right? So, I mean, do we have the right kind of people at the right place, right? So, like product, do we have the best person in that? I mean, we have got like a new product profile now, so need different type of product mindset there. Earlier it was all visual, now it is more voice, right? So, and different types of like invisible type of experience that we are building. Earlier it was more visual, now it is more behind the scenes things happening, right? So you look for the kind of person that you require basically changes. Different types of jobs require different mindset of people, but the core theme, underlying theme is the same, that they have to be startup ready. They have to be like a growth, I mean, pushing the growth path very, very faster. They want to grow faster. Like, so, I mean, some of the investors basically have told us that get the kind of people who have that steep growth path. The momentum of those people will show up.
And how intimately involved are your investors in identifying talent and recommending you to people? And
Not that much. So, I mean, earlier when we were in the pre-series stage, we had some closer things happening with the investors. But now,
is that a conscious choice, or is that something you would wish was the other way around?
no, I think the new people that are coming on board have to be motivated with the team that which they are working with, right? So, of course, the investors can add their own confidence layer while the interactions happen. And in leadership profiles, we tend to have those discussions, especially for some very critical profiles. But in most of the cases, like we don't do that.
So just to wrap it up, and this has been an amazing conversation, Sanjay. I just want to understand, what is that big bet that your product team is working on? I'm pretty certain that now that you've conquered the processing part and making the experience very immersive for your end customers and prospective customers, and obviously capturing all of that lead, what is that next big bet? Where AI is currently, what do you think 2 years from now we can expect when we go to a dealership and when somebody thinks of buying a car, new or used or whatever that may be, what do you think that experience is going to look like 2 years from now?
So we are building products which are dealer first. That particular experience is changing to agentic experience, which is, the software doing most part of the job and the dealers are the decision makers only, right? So this is the fundamental shift that is happening in the dealership industry, and all the industries, dealership are not, aloof to it. So we are looking to build that core new age agentic AI experience for the dealership industry, which will be new for the industry, right? So and that particular building has started from this voice agents, which will lead us to maybe CRM, new age CRM building experience for the dealers.
Sure.
To more like a platform building thing for the dealer, which is more like a bigger leap for us. We'll see how, like, step by step we are taking, like, large market,
Right.
Extremely huge number of dealers working all across the globe. So
Right.
like 30-40 years we can just keep playing on.
Okay, terrific. So let's close it out with a rapid fire, and I want to get these questions out to you as rapidly as I want the answers. So here we go. What is that big myth related to AI that is there in your space, right? Which is AI transforming auto retail.
Big myth is that OpenAI, Google, Amazon, Shopify, Facebook, all of these companies will be able to build models, and you are not able to build a product that works with the real customers. You have to go extremely sharp to the use cases. These companies will not build those sharp use cases. You'll be able to build it.
What is that winning formula and success formula of two co-founders working seamlessly with each other? Give us that winning formula for co-founder chemistry. What should one co-founder look for in the other one to know that this is going to work in the long term?
I think separation of responsibilities for sure, one part, and owning up their own areas, and very, very high tuning, like, so sharing.
So how frequently do you disagree with Deepthi on matters?
So, I tend to keep a strong view on marketing as well.
Right.
But at times I go ahead with what would the other.
So there's the delineation of responsibilities and respect for who drives engineering, product vis-a-vis who drives the go-to-market. All right. So last two questions. What's that one piece of advice that you wish you would have acted upon that obviously you did not, in retrospect?
I should have taken this voice AI or this conversational intelligence product building at least 1 year back. There was a lot of signals that we were getting, but we delayed it almost a year.
And tell me of an instance when you stuck to your guns and you followed your conviction and did not listen to what was a popular advice at a certain given point in time in your journey.
Does this US pivot or the focus to the US was a very hard decision that, if you talk to all sorts of people, like, now it is becoming very, very obvious where everything is happening here. 3 years back, 2 years back, it was very difficult, especially, focusing on automotive, focusing on US, these two extremely like fields which we were never exposed to.
Right.
So this was like one of the very, very difficult decisions that everyone told not to do. We did it, cut down all this revenue, and that worked for us.
Sanjay, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you and getting to know more about Spyne, which is actually becoming the spine and the backbone of auto retailing. And we wish you and your team the best of luck. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks a lot, Peeyush.
If you're listening to us on Spotify, Amazon, or Apple, if you like the content and what we're talking about, please go and hit those 5 stars and leave us a review. That goes a long way. And if you're watching us on YouTube, then please like and subscribe. And that way you can be absolutely assured that our content reaches you and we follow you along, our journey. And we hope to bring to you more founders, more ecosystem builders to talk about their scale-up pursuits.
Thank you for flying with the Scale Up flight. We hope you'll join us again